Well, hello, music lovers. Welcome back to Critical Weight Theory, a podcast where sometimes I dig into the stories behind the songs that shaped the soundtrack of our lives, or at least look at theories about what the songs could be about. And I'm your host, Wade, and today I'm talking about a track that captures the anxious thrill of anticipation like perhaps no other. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers classic, The Waiting. Released in 1981 as the lead single from the album Hard Promises, The Waiting quickly carved out its place in rock history. Written by Tom Petty, with that unmistakable guitar work from Mike Campbell, this track hit number 19 on the Billboard Hot 100 and never really left the airwaves. It's one of those songs that lives in the bones of American rock music, so to speak. And let's talk about that riff. Well, really, it's not just one riff. The song is just it's almost like one big riff. That's one interesting thing about Tom Petty's songs is you can't really narrow it down that much to one part because it all sort of creates a comprehensive whole. There's no single riff in the average Tom Petty song that you could really narrow the sound down to. Although "Running Down a Dream" kind of has that, so there's an exception to the rule, I guess, in "Running Down a Dream." But with this song, it's almost like I said, one big riff. It's pretty clean sounding, catchy, and instantly recognizable. Mike Campbell's guitar work doesn't scream for attention, but it hooks you from the first note. The song is tight, sharp, and it's really Tom Petty and his band in perfect sync, yet it still feels loose. That's when you know you have a good band a lot of the time when it sounds both tight and loose at the same time. It might be described as having a little bit of bounce to it, maybe. That's something that many classic rock songs have, like Black Sabbath has it a lot of the time, and so many others. And what makes the waiting stick isn't just the melody, it's the feeling. The lyrics tap into something we all know too well, the tension between wanting something and not knowing when or if it's going to happen. Oh, baby, don't it feel like heaven right now? The waiting is the hardest part. And, it's a line that people can relate to. The waiting is the hardest part. It's a simple truth wrapped in a rock anthem, and Tom Petty sings it with both frustration and resolve. It's about chasing what you want, perhaps love, success, freedom, and living in that restless in between time. Some say the song is an autobiographical tale. Maybe it's about a couple itching to get married, racing towards some unknown but future that is also hopeful. There's something romantic in that idea, impatience driven by passion. And then there's the band behind the feeling. Benmont Tench's keyboards glide around under the surface, giving the track a warm, classic Heartbreakers touch. And the whole thing is polished but never overproduced. A commercially friendly tune that still keeps a little bit of edge. There's something about Tom Petty. He's definitely nobody's going to call him a hard rocker, yet he seems too pure and true to dismiss as like soft rock or what's one of the words that they say, yacht rock. You don't get Tom Petty too often lumped into that category. Not that you necessarily have to dismiss those artists either, but I'm just saying it's a little bit different for Tom Petty because he has this very naturalistic vibe, like he's not trying to be overly commercial. Like there's a little bit of that garage rock edge in his stuff. Even though, like I said, he's not going to be accused of being like a hard rock, heavy metal type of musician with the stuff that he put out. But anyway, the waiting became a staple in Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers live shows, of course, right up there with American Girl, which I'm sure I will have an episode about at some point. This song helped define the band's signature blend of rock, folk, and Americana. It just sounds like a natural song, like they weren't trying to cater to a genre. It just sounds natural to me. And that's a pretty cool thing. I respect that. And the song still resonates with people, whether you're waiting on a job, a call, a second chance, maybe waiting in line to use the bathroom. In any case, this song seems to get it, and it's right there with you. And Petty had a gift for cutting straight to the emotional core, and really this track is no exception. So, next time you're stuck in that limbo between hope and reality, go ahead and crank this song. Let Petty remind you that, yeah, the waiting is the hardest part, but you're not alone in it. That's really, I think, the message and the vibe of this song. It's ultimately a feel good song, and it lets you know that, hey, we've all been there waiting for something to happen. Anyway, thanks for listening. I don't think I have much more to say about this song, for better or for worse. So I'm Wade, and I'll catch you next time with another song, another story, another groove. Maybe I'll be talking about a movie or a TV show or a social topic. A little bit of trivia sometimes, whatever, whatever I feel like talking about. Anyway, yep. I hope you're not waiting too long for the next episode. All right, that was corny, but well, what can you do? It made sense given the overarching topic of this episode. So, anyway, maybe you can wait for a better joke to arrive for me to close on. I don't know. Well, you're going to be left waiting for a long time because guess what? I'm ending the episode right now.